Hey there. So you're gearing up for your grade 12 business study? Well, you've come to the right place.
In grade 12 business studies doesn't happen when it's October, and you're almost at the final exam. It starts in January, and we want to prepare you to ACE 2026. By the way, in the description, you can download this helpful infographic to help you study better this year.
We're about to break down a super clear strategy to help you absolutely ace that exam. Let's jump right in. Now, everything we're talking about today isn't just some random advice I cooked up. Nope. This is the real deal, grounded in the official exam guidelines from the Department of Basic Education. This is the official game plan straight from the source. You know, staring at that huge pile of textbooks and notes, it can be a little overwhelming, right? I totally get it. So let's try to think about it differently. Imagine the entire exam is just one giant, tasty carrot. And you're a smart rabbit. You're not going to eat it all at once. You just need a plan to start crunching. And guess what? Here's that exact plan. First, we're going to look at the structure of the exam. Then we'll start crunching through paper 1 and then paper 2. After that, we're going to sharpen our teeth on the perfect answering technique. And finally, wrap it all up into a winning strategy just for you. Okay, first things first. Before we start munching away, we need to understand the carrot itself, right? Let's break this whole exam down into smaller, much more manageable, bite-sized pieces. So this table is basically your roadmap for those 2 hours in the exam hall. And the best part? Both paper 1 and paper 2 follow this exact same format. Section A is 30 marks of quick-fire questions. You want to zoom through this in about 20 minutes. Section B, that's the main course, 80 marks. And Section C is that big 40-mark essay. Knowing this structure and timing, that is your secret weapon. And here's something you've really got to get. This exam isn't just about memorizing stuff. Look at this. Only 30% of the marks are for just remembering facts. The huge middle chunk, 50%, is about applying and analyzing. And the top 20% is all about higher-level thinking, like evaluating. This means you have to study to understand the why and the how, not just the what. Okay, ready to take our first big bite? Let's get into it. We are crunching through paper 1, which is all about business environments and business operations. These are the 4 heavy hitters you need to know for paper 1. Under business environments, you've got legislation and strategies. And for business operations, it's all about HR and quality. So let's zoom in on one of these, say a piece of legislation, to see how you should be thinking about it. To really show you what I mean by understanding instead of just memorizing, let's take a proper bite out of a real topic from the curriculum, the Skills Development Act. Okay, so the official purpose of the Act, the textbook definition, is to upskill the South African workforce, which helps improve productivity and fix the inequalities from the past. Simple enough, right? But let's put that in even simpler terms. This quote really nails it. The whole point of the Act was to fix the educational imbalance that the old government created. That's the core why you need to remember. It's about fairness and creating opportunities. And remember those higher order questions we talked about? This is exactly what they mean. You need to be able to evaluate the impact, the good and the bad. The positives are pretty clear. You get better skills, higher productivity. But you also have to see it from the business's side. It can be time-consuming, and it costs them money through that skills development levy. You know, the money they have to pay to ACETA to fund the training. Being able to argue both sides, that's where the big marks are. All right, feeling good about paper 1? Let's move on to the next part of our meal. We're now crunching through paper 2, which is all about business ventures and business roles. So here's your cheat sheet for paper 2. For ventures, you're looking at things like leadership, investment, and different forms of ownership. For roles, it's about ethics, problem-solving, and teamwork. And these are real-world things, like knowing the difference between investing in a company by buying shares versus giving them a loan through a debenture. That's a huge business decision. Leadership styles are a classic example. You have to know the difference between autocratic, that's the my way or the highway boss, which can actually be good in a crisis, and democratic, where the whole team gets a say. The exam isn't just going to ask you to define them, it's going to ask you to compare them, analyze when you'd use each one. And see how it all links together? A democratic leader is being ethical by including people. It all connects. So, you've crunched through all this content. Awesome. But how do you serve it up on the plate in the exam to get every single mark you deserve? Well, this part is all about technique. It's about showing that examiner exactly what you know. Seriously, knowing your action verbs is like knowing the rules of the game. If you don't, you can't win. Outline just wants the main points, nice and simple. But a word like discuss or evaluate, oh, that's asking for a much deeper answer with different viewpoints. If you just outline when they ask you to discuss, you are literally throwing away marks. And what about that big, scary 40-mark essay? Don't even panic. It's just a formula, a simple recipe. You get 2 easy marks for a good intro and 2 more for a solid conclusion. The rest of the marks are in the body, where you lay out all your facts and arguments. Use clear headings, follow the recipe, and you'll be amazed at how well you can do. Okay, we've broken down the carrot, we've taken a few bites, we've even perfected our chewing technique. Now let's put it all together into your winning strategy. This is how you go from feeling totally overwhelmed to feeling completely prepared and confident. Here is one of the best pieces of practical advice you will ever get. Let the marks be your guide. A little 2-mark question, it needs a short, punchy answer. That 8-mark question, it needs more detail. And that 40-mark essay, that needs about 30 minutes of your focused time. Manage your time according to the marks, and you'll finish the paper with time to spare. And there you have it. The structure, the content, the technique. That giant exam carrot? It doesn't seem quite so scary anymore, does it? You have a plan. You know exactly where to start, what to focus on, and how to show off everything you know. You are totally in control. So the only question left is this. Now that you've got the plan, which piece of this carrot are you going to crunch through first? Go on, pick one. You've got this. Good luck.